Gotha build. So let's have a look, see what we've done so far. So problem number one is these injector pins that you can see are more visible than I first realised, and unfortunately I've gone a little bit too far down the rabbit hole, certainly on this half of the fuselage where I've done the inside bits. So what I'm going to do is paint them gunmetal, and effectively they're going to be ammo drums. A clever way of getting rid of them, I suppose. We've done a bit more brown on the sprues, so we need to do that, get those fuselage halves together. And what I've noticed is that the fit is going to be quite poor, but we'll get some filler in these gaps. We'll get that sanded down, and it's not going to be too much of a problem because so much of this is going to be covered in decals, so it will give it that sort of fabric overlap look, and that's going to be the next part of this build, is the decals. So we have over here these sheets here, and they're going to cover most of the fuselage and most of the wings, which I have been working on getting those horrible burrs off. So again, with these we're not going to do too much in terms of painting them or anything, because again they're going to be completely covered in decals. So that's going to be a slow process, because I want to get the first lot of decals on, let that dry, varnish it, then get the next lot on, let that dry, varnish it, then put the crosses on, and basically, yeah, just sort of build it up with sort of decal solution and varnish, so that we have hopefully a lovely set of wings and a fuselage. There you have it then, the last little bits of detail before we close this up. As you can see then, that's the fuselage together. Lots of clamps, and you can see where it's going to need filler. That's a really sort of poor fit, but you know, we'll work around that. We'll fill it, we'll sand it, and then we'll whack a load of decals over the top of it, so you won't even notice it when it's done. But yeah, that's what it looks like at the moment. Progress update then. So let's take the fuselage first. So you can see I've sanded that down. There's a little bit of a step that you can see, but I'm not too fussed about that because the decal, I think, will cover most of that. On the underside, again, you can see where I filled it. Again, I think the decal will cover most of that, so I'm not too fussed. We apparently have RAF blue on this bit here, so I've used PR blue because I had it handy, and I think it's probably going to look pretty similar. You'll notice what I've done is I've primed it in white. Now the reason why I've done that is because I put the varnish on and it didn't adhere to the plastic at all. So obviously I want a nice shiny finish so that these decals really stick. And obviously if the varnish isn't going to stick to the plastic, then I've got a problem. So I've done a very, very high level prime with the white, just so that the varnish should then stick. So that's why it's looking a bit white at the moment. And like I say, the next step is to get that all shiny and glossy, let that dry, and then we can start on the decaling. Right, okay, the next part of this video was supposed to be me showing you how, using Decal Fix, I would attach the decals to the underside of this wing and get sort of a really nice finish. But what I'm finding, if we take this wing here, is, you know, I'm still getting bubbles and stuff like that. Now I'm doing everything in the book to ensure that I don't get that, and to eliminate them, sticking pins in there, putting decal solution to soften it, all of that. It's just not working as I want it to. And then when we come on to the fuselage, you can see it's just not working. So the next part of this video is going to be me peeling off these decals, and I have decided that I'm going to paint this on. So I've got my sort of template, I know what it is I'm looking for. So we're going to use a sky blue colour to begin with, sort of all over. Then we're going to use masking tape cut in tiny little random shapes, and basically we're just going to mask up bit by bit. So I'll use the light blue to begin with, then we'll probably do some purple, then we'll do the 2 greens, and then finally onto the dark blue. And it'll also mean I can do that colour again, which you saw earlier in the video I wasn't happy with. So yeah, like I say, I'm going to strip this back now, get it back to as it should be, do the necessary sanding and filling, the bits that I said that wouldn't matter because there'll be decals over it, that will matter now. And yeah, we're going to basically start again. There we go then, that's stripped back to the plastic for the most part. So we can ignore everything I said about the seams not needing to fill them and sand them properly, because now that we're going to airbrush that, we will need to do that. So a bit more work to do, but yeah, I'm going to end this as part 1. Been interesting. And join me for part 2, where hopefully this should start to progress a bit better. Catch you next time, guys. Bye.